It's okay. This is your moment. This is an incredible atmosphere, one that you generate everywhere you go now, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Despite having an ankle ailment, Alex Eala recently defeated Katie McNally at the National Bank Open in Toronto, shocking the Filipino community. The crowd is shouting and the Philippine flags are fluttering. Now, a tennis legend has spoken. Martina Navratilova, a 59-time major champion and 18-time Grand Slam champion, has made a bold declaration about Alex Eala. Her comments have shocked the tennis community. According to her, Alex is prospering under pressure and enjoying the large stage. She contends that Bencic ought to be worried. We analyze everything the great said, discuss the implications for this pivotal game, and explain why Alex Eala could pull off yet another incredible upset. For additional tennis coverage, click the notification bell and subscribe. Katie McNally was already a formidable opponent. Eala's 6-3 victory in the opening set was the moment that sent shivers down the spine of the Filipino community. Early in the second set, when leading 3-2, Eala stumbled awkwardly after a forehand, injuring her right ankle. She quickly asked for a medical timeout even though she had won the game. The physiotherapist rushed to her side and taped her ankle firmly. The stadium went quiet. The sea of Philippines flags stopped flying. Was this the end of her fantasy run? It was a scary period, according to Eala later. She hit the forehand and landed a little off, but it happened so fast that she didn't realize what had happened. But when the news came, millions of people were relieved. The injury was not as bad as it first appeared. But damage had already been done by the fear. Taking advantage of Eala's limited mobility, McNally took 3 straight games to win the second set 7-5. Eala took a chance. They removed the tape from her ankle. She took a 5-3 lead in the third set after regaining control and moving more freely. Despite McNally's 5-4 comeback, Eala remained composed and won the match 6-4 after a demanding 2 hours and 39 minutes. Her winning streak now stands at 7 games, having begun with her first WTA Tour victory at the Washington Open. But everyone wanted to see how her ankle would do against Belinda Bencic. The ankle scare was a reminder of how fragile dreams can be. A single step gone wrong or an awkward landing may change everything. But Eala showed amazing resilience. The injury would not end her campaign. She managed to overcome the pain, remove the tape, and win. This is the mark of a champion. The question now is whether she can defeat an Olympic winner again. The tennis community is closely monitoring the situation as the strain increases. However, Alex Eala is capable of handling it. Martina Navratilova, one of the greatest tennis players in history, has been keeping a close eye on Alex Eala's remarkable growth. Now she's made a bold remark that should make Belinda Bencic very nervous. According to Navratilova, the Filipina superstar had a certain quality. She praised Eala's capacity to withstand pressure and regarded her as intelligent, a good lefty who makes good use of her versatility. But what struck me most was how she described Eala's mental toughness. Alex is under pressure, Navratilova said. However, she has been accepting it thus far. She handles it really well. From one of the greatest minds in the game, this is an amazing recommendation. According to Navratilova, many players have buckled under the weight of expectations. But she believes Eala is special. She believes that young Filipinas thrive when the stakes are at their highest. She has concluded that Eala's ability to tolerate stress is her greatest asset. Navratilova didn't stop there, but against a seasoned winner like Bencic, this is exactly the kind of quality that could make the difference. She also talked about how Eala's left-handed play causes problems for opponents. She also expressed her support for Eala's fans and begged the event organizers to give them better scheduling and bigger courts. The legend adores not just Eala's game but all she stands for. Bravo to the supporters. Navratilova said, "It's amazing that people were so nicely standing in line." This player has not only captured the attention of the tennis community but also one of the most respected figures in the sport. So what exactly has impressed Martina Navratilova? The answer lies in Eala's recent exceptional performance. She has won 7 straight games since taking home her first WTA Tour trophy at the Washington Open. People came to the box office with the intention of purchasing tennis match tickets. Rather, they were informed that none remained. Some strolled about the premises in search of a different ticket booth. In the hopes that the website had made a mistake, others looked at their phones. It hadn't. Some seats were reportedly close to $1,000 on the secondary market. The stadium was completely filled out, and the guy in charge wasn't the top player in the world. She wasn't the current U.S. Open champion. She did not win more than one Grand Slam. She was a 20-year-old Filipino named Alex Eala, who was not even among the top 10 in the world and had never won a Grand Slam. How, therefore, did Alex Eala become the most sought-after player in women's tennis? The answer begins in Washington, D.C. The William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center, which can accommodate around 7,500 spectators, is one of the tour's more intimate venues. The Mubadala CTDC Open has never been one of the biggest stops on the WTA circuit. Seldom does a weekday tennis session in Washington become the talk of the town. Fans started showing up early for this one, only to find the same issue. Long lineups had developed outside the theater, and tickets had vanished. Some turned to resale websites, where prices skyrocketed to heights often associated with Grand Slam finals, while others looked for any leftover seats. And farewell tours. The stadium's full capacity wasn't the only noteworthy aspect. Mark Ein, the tournament chairman, later disclosed what his own ticket department had been telling him all week. Ein claims that a single query was asked in at least 80% of all ticket requests, if not more. When will Alex Eala be performing? Take a moment to consider that. Not Frances Tiafoe, not Venus Williams, not Ben Shelton, nor Naomi Osaka. Almost all discussions about ticket sales revolved around one player, who was ranked outside the top 10 at almost the same time. A few hundred miles to the north, something as amazing was taking place. The top player in the world, Aryna Sabalenka, had already started her campaign at the Canadian Open in Toronto. For decades, the most sought-after ticket belonged to one tournament while the top-ranked female tennis player competed at another. The foundation of professional tennis has been a straightforward premise. Your viewership grows as you rank higher. Crowds will follow the biggest tournaments when they take the top spot. Washington subtly questioned that notion because demand was suddenly heading in a different direction, even though Sabalenka was still ranked at the top of the sport. The kind of attention generated by a player outside the top 10 was something the event organizers had not anticipated. It wasn't an accident. There wasn't just one boisterous group of Filipino supporters. It wasn't hyperbole on social media. It was said by the ticket sellers themselves. It was evident from the numbers. It was expressed in the lines outside the stadium. This is why there is more to this tale than just one Washington tournament. It's about the women's tennis industry unintentionally finding a new kind of superstar. One whose influence was no longer solely determined by rankings. Because Alex Eala was no longer merely winning games. The price that people were prepared to pay to watch one was being altered by her. The Washington sellout was not an accident. The event organizers were aware that something strange was going on by the time spectators were waiting in line for tickets and witnessing the rise in resale prices. They had already noticed it long before the first ball was hit. Later, Washington chairman Mark Ein disclosed that Alex Eala's participation in the competition was more than just an addition to the roster. Throughout the season, his team had witnessed her ascent. They had observed what had transpired in Miami and were aware of the expanding crowds in Melbourne. They realized that every time Alex appeared, a new audience appeared beside her. The first tournament when the number of spectators exceeded the capacity was Washington. The world of tennis was captivated by the admission that followed. At least 80% of all ticket requests, if not more, were related to a single player, according to EIN. When will Alex Eala be performing? He went so far as to say that almost all of them were probably higher. These figures came from the tournament owner himself, not from followers on social media. This is significant because ticket sales are used by tournament organizers to gauge popularity rather than Instagram followers or viral videos. And there was one clear message coming from Washington's ticket office. They weren't just purchasing DC Open tickets. They were purchasing tickets to see Alex Eala. The same narrative was supported by the resale market, and local conversations in Washington started to record how hard it was now to find tickets. Fans talked about looking via several resale marketplaces as costs were rising. Before Alex even made it to the final, some seats reportedly got close to four figures. Again, a Grand Slam final was not the reason for that. It was taking place at a WTA 500 event. That just doesn't happen very often in professional tennis. On the Nothing Major podcast, Former ATP professionals also observed it. A few months ago, Sam Querrey asked a question that would have seemed nearly impossible. Is Alex Eala currently the most popular player in women's tennis? Steve Johnson responded without hesitation. Indeed. The query was pushed further. Greater than Sabalenka Aryna? Indeed. Greater than Coco Gauff? Indeed. This was about demands, not rankings, for two previous elite professionals. They weren't comparing forehands or backhands. They were comparing who people were genuinely paying to watch. That's an important distinction. For decades, professional tennis has worked under a basic assumption. First comes the rankings. The audience then arrives. Become the top person in the world. Naturally, the crowds follow. That equation seems to be being reversed by Alex Eala. First to arrive were the through. Schedule unites a different Filipino population that seldom gets the chance to cheer for someone participating at the top level of international tennis. Melbourne, Dubai, Washington, and now Toronto are all separate cities with the same flags and opportunities. The ticket office asked the same question. When will Alex Eala be performing? Tennis is being expanded rather than replaced by that support. Not only are tournament organizers witnessing increased attendance, they are also witnessing new attendance. Because Alex Eala is in the draw, people who might never have gone to a WTA event are now purchasing tickets. Washington is important because of this. Not because a single stadium sold out, but rather because it exposed something that the tennis industry's corporate community may have overlooked for far too long. For many years, the major courts were selected by tournaments. The people were now starting to decide for themselves. The true test starts now, even albeit it was in Washington that the numbers became unavoidable. 2 sold-out sessions might still be referred to as momentum because one can be written off as an extraordinary week. 3 turns into a pattern. Because of this, the upcoming month may be among the most significant periods of Alex Eala's career. As a draw as well as a player. The tour will now travel to Toronto, Cincinnati, New York, and Arthur Ashe Stadium, the largest tennis arena. Every tournament at the U.S. Open poses the same query. Was Washington an exception? Women's tennis has found its newest draw. Wins and losses won't be the sole metrics used to determine the solution. It will be gauged by something that competitions covertly keep an eye on every day. Demand for tickets. Every event bases its timetable on a single goal. Fill the largest stadium. Increase the number of people watching television. Sponsors of Docrepate sessions want their brands to be associated with them. Rankings have made those choices comparatively easy for decades. The largest courts and primetime games went to the players with the highest rankings. The formula for the biggest marketing campaigns, the headline television slots, has been effective for years. However, Alex Eala is starting a strange dialogue. How long will it take for tournaments to start adapting to the fact that she consistently generates sellouts wherever she goes? Demand is the reason, not rankings. Consider the circumstances that tournament directors will face in the coming weeks. Do you plan your timetable based on global rankings? Or thousands of people specifically request to watch, according to the player? At the U, those questions take on much greater significance. S. Accessible. More than 3 times the capacity of Washington Center Court, Arthur Ashe Stadium can accommodate almost 23,000 spectators. It is designed for the sport's major attractions. Conversations over court assignments could start to sound very different if Alex continues to attract the kind of attention Washington saw. Marketing efforts, sponsor activations, broadcast priority, primetime television, and evening sessions. Star power has always guided these choices. Alex Eala is now providing a new metric for evaluating competitions. This is not the only side of the tale. Pressure. Rankings can never build the kind of expectations that are created when a stadium is sold out. Fans no longer come in the hopes of finding a young talent with promise. They come anticipating yet another incredible show. Another headline is expected at every tournament. Every stadium anticipates a different electrifying vibe. Now that thousands of people have shown out to watch Alex win, every opponent enters the court knowing this. Every match has a different mindset as a result. The atmosphere is altered prior to the first serve. Additionally, it modifies the benchmark by which Alex will be evaluated going forward. This takes us back to the beginning of the story. The pricey tickets, resale pricing, sold-out signage, and the lengthy lines outside the stadium were the main topics of the headlines. However, that wasn't the whole tale. They served as proof that there might be more going on in women's tennis. Rankings determined the sport's best stars for decades. Alex Eala isn't attempting to alter that by well-prepared publicity, marketing initiatives, or interviews. Every time another tournament finds that there are still enough tickets available, she changes it. Do you believe that Washington marked the start of a long-lasting change? Was it a week-long phenomenon? If you like this documentary, please leave a comment and subscribe for more in-depth coverage when Alex Eala travels to Toronto, Cincinnati, and the US Open.